Hello, reception class. This week in our English lessons, we are not going to be reading a fiction book. We are going to be having a little change and we're going to be reading a non-fiction book. This is the book that we're going to be reading this week and it's called I Love Dinosaurs and it's going to help us find out all about them. But before we read any of that book, today we're going to learn about some of the main differences between fiction and non-fiction books. On your screen, there are pictures of two books. One is a fiction book and one is a non-fiction book. Can you just have a little think now if you know which is which? The picture to the far side called Harry and the Bucketful of Dinosaurs, that is what's called a fiction book. And then the book on the other side, just here, called Tyrannosaurus Rex, is a non-fiction book. A fiction book is a book that isn't true, a book that is what we call make-believe, whereas a non-fiction book is true. It is based on facts or real life. You would read a non-fiction book reception class to help you learn about something. So I've got some here to show you. So you would read this non-fiction book to find out about towns and cities. Or you could read this non-fiction book to find out about volcanoes. This one to find out about farm animals. Or you could read this non-fiction book to find out about dolphins. So non-fiction books help you learn about things. Like non-fiction books all have a page in them called a contents page. A contents page tells you what information you will find on each chapter of the book. A chapter is like a different parts. A chapter is a part of a book. If you just look back through these books, these non-fiction books again, you will see this book about dolphins. Here is the contents page. So these are the different chapters of the book. And then next to it, there are numbers. That's the page that you will find that chapter on. We'll just check if the next book has a contents page too. So here, yep, our farm animals non-fiction book also has a contents page. So again, we can see the different chapters, the different parts of the book, and then we've got page numbers to show what page each of these chapters is on. Right, the next big difference between fiction and non-fiction books is when you read a fiction book, you start at the beginning and you go in order all the way through, like this. But when you read a non-fiction book, you don't need to start at the beginning and go all the way through to the end. You can use the contents page to help you decide which chapter, which page you want to read first. So, for example, if I was reading this farm animals book, I might decide that I wanted to find out about big birds. So rather than starting at the beginning, I could go to page 24 to find out more about big birds and go to the chapter all about big birds. But the next difference between fiction and non-fiction books reception class is, you just look on the screen, often fiction storybooks have what we call illustrations in them. So that means they have drawings. Like if we look at this one here, we can see the drawings on each of the pages. And if we look at this fiction book here, we can also see that there are drawings, illustrations on the pages. But often non-fiction books, instead of having drawings, will have photographs in them. So we can see here, each of the pages, there is a different photograph. So that is another difference between fiction and non-fiction books. Another difference between fiction and non-fiction books reception class is that non-fiction books will have what's called headings at the top of the page. The headings are the titles of the different chapters. see them on each page here. Whereas we look at a fiction book, we don't have any headings at the top of the pages, do we? Right, the last difference that we're going to talk about today is that non-fiction books have a special page at the back called an index page. And on this index page, there are important words from the story, and it'll tell you what page these important words are on. So again, that's another reason why you don't need to read a non-fiction book from the beginning all the way through to the end. You could just go to the index page, look at one of those words and think, oh, that's what I want to read about today, and just go to the page that that word is on. Right, reception, I have got a little challenge for you now. What I would like you to do is go and find some books from around your house. Hopefully you have some fiction and non-fiction. I would like you to put them in a pile on the floor and see if with a grown-up you can sort them into fiction and non-fiction books. So remember, you're looking to see if the book has a contents page, whether it has an index page, whether it has photographs, or whether it has headings, whether it's going to help you learn about something, or whether it is a make-believe book and therefore a fiction book, a story. So if you have a go at sorting those books, reception, then send me in a photo, please. Thank you. Bye.